Greetings, everybody. Happy weekend, happy Friday, whatever. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's doing okay. My name is Aaron Collins. This is another edition of me addressing worldly issues in a godly way. And today I'm going to do a review on the Netflix series called Tiger King. So without further ado, let's just get on with this review. So Tiger King recently aired on Netflix, and it chronicles the rise and fall of one Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic ran a private zoo in Wynnewood, Oklahoma called the GW Zoo. And the zoo, he had mostly big cats, lions, tigers, some ligers, and mixed breed cats. And the story chronicles his craziness, his wackiness, his eccentric lifestyle of being a big cat owner, of being basically really how can I say an extremely I'll say a better use of words, an interesting person. And it talks about his day to day trials and tribulations of running the GW Zoo. The show basically has interviews with people who have worked with him, worked for him, different aspects of Joe Exotic, the things he's done. Even show even talks about how he ran for governor of the state of Oklahoma, which he obviously did not win, but he had political ambitions. I followed his channel a few years ago when he was. I don't know if this was a joke. It was probably a joke. He was actually then trying to even run for president of the United States. This was back in the 2016 election year, around that time, and I was following his channel there. Then and even then, I knew he was a really interesting guy. He chronicles. He talks about his life being a gay man, being. They even have interviews with his past husbands, and talks about that life. How he refers to himself, and these are his words. He calls himself a, a mullet wearing. I think I'm actually even I'm quoting him wrong, but he calls himself the gay cowboy, singing cowboy country singer, because he had a singing career as well. He sang. He has some songs he's got on the country music charts. So yeah, Joe Exotic is pretty much a well-rounded guy who runs a zoo. His pride and joy, like I said, are his big cats. He's had different mini tigers and lions and things like that. Well, things take a dark turn when he has run-ins with a fellow big cat connoisseur, a conservationist named Carol Baskin. Carol Baskin has her own private group in Florida called Big Cat Rescue. She she doesn't believe that people should own big cats. She doesn't believe in the buying and selling of big cats. Like some states have actually passed laws of owning exotic animals, such as big cats. Now, I for one, I agree that a big cat should not be kept as a pet because it's not a pet type of animal. To be able to feed something like that, it's just not possible because the stuff that they're used to eating is just not something readily available in grocery stores. But anyway, I digress. So he's come into conflicts with her. He claims that she's been getting in his business and talking about his how his facility should be shut down, which to his chagrin, he has had her in effigy, different mannequin dolls of her, and some of Joe's ways were also brought into question, where he would have himself on camera shooting at the different mannequins and things made to look like Carol. Carol Baskin and Joe were going back and forth with each other, doing different broadcasts on their own respective channels. Matter of fact, it was even brought up that Carol Baskin herself had skeletons in her own closet as it pertains to her first husband. Her first husband supposedly died, and it was alleged that she fed her body, she fed his body to her own tigers. So we don't know anything about that. That was alleged, but it was never really brought up. When the questions came to ask her about that, I don't think she completely directly answered that question. But they were going back and forth with each other. There was also talk with interviews with folks like Doc Anto, who was another big cat owner out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He has his own facility there too. I followed actually all three of these people: Joe Exotic, Carol Baskin, Doc Anto. I've actually followed all of their channels for some years, long before this documentary came out. So anyway, the back and forth is going on. It's getting more and more serious. Then we all start to know that some of Joe's his zoo starts to have some issues, financial issues. He's showing him screaming and yelling at employees. The interviews with his employees, they talk about how Joe's has erratic bouts and fits, temper tantrums. There was even an interview with a young man, with a guy, an older gentleman who even did Joe's reality show, and he talked about the the things that Joe would do that didn't sit well with him. Talks about how Joe possibly frauded the insurance company by burning his own facility up, just basically so some footage wouldn't get out of him doing some illicit things, and that the footage was inside the fire, which was allegedly, as they say, started by an arsonist while Joe was away. But he thinks that Joe may have called and actually had the fire set by somebody else. These are all allegations. But this is the show gets more and more interesting. Like I was saying, it's a documentary series of different people who have had different kinds of collaborations with Joe, different interactions with Joe, are being interviewed. So finally, it comes to the point where Joe gets in touch with another man named Jeff Lowe, who was said to be some kind of playboy, rich Vegas type. He's been known to carry tigers and drive them around in his Ferrari. Someone from that ilk who could possibly bail him out, because the GW Zoo was having some financial problems, as we stated before. And he gets a hold of this guy. He says he can help Joe out. Things seemingly are starting to go well for the zoo. Then things started to go awry, even between them, because Jeff Lowe himself is also a felon. Many of the people that Joe had working for him were either felons or ex-cons of some kind. They just needed work, needed a place to stay, and he would hire them on to try to get them off the street. So that in itself, being an act of good Samaritanship, it turned out things didn't exactly go in possibly their favor as well, because you have a few of them who really hated Joe's guts. And from what I've seen, it seemed like Joe messed quite a few people around. It even got to the point where him and Jeff started having differences with each other, and Jeff was screaming, yelling at Joe, saying that Joe's actions could get him in trouble. And then it got to the point where it just got out of hand. Anyway, Joe was still going back and forth with Carol Baskin. It got to the point where it got so serious that Joe is said to have wanted to hire a hitman to go and kill Carol on her own facility. There were like different printouts and blueprints of Carol's land, of where she rode her bike, where she would be. There was a whole layout there that they had there. The feds got involved, people, law enforcement. It became really serious. The interview with the supposed would-be hitman was even done on air. They used footage and informant testimonies against Joe to get him locked away. Joe wound up getting locked away, lost the zoo to Jeff Lowe. Jeff Lowe, who now owns the GW Zoo, was last seen making renovations to the zoo to start over, a different set of people, a different set of policies and procedures, a different part of Oklahoma. Bottom line is, what I've learned about this, they even had in one of the last episodes that Joe was he had even witnesses. Joe turned him to be like an informant himself, talking to the feds. He was said to have had the feds and indicted Doc Antle himself. The feds are said to have even raided his facility because of something that Joe said to them. But it turns out, though, that Joe Exotic was disgraced. He is now an inmate, supposed to be facing over 70 years for the attempted murder of Carol Baskin. Our hitman, he claims he's innocent, that he didn't tell his side of the story. Basically, this is the story of a would-be king who was dethroned and stripped of his kingdom. The lesson to be learned here is that big cats are not pets and they're not to be owned. They even had a little snippet at the end that there are more tigers in captivity than there are in the actual wilds of India, which is quite disturbing. Now, me myself, being a lover of animals, big cats in particular, I think that's disastrous. Like I said, big cats need to be in the wild where they can run around and roam. They don't need to be in someone's backyard. Because a lot of times, basically, these animals are used as cubs, basically to fit someone's status symbol. They are used as cubs because people want to take pictures of something exotic. They want to live what they think is an extraordinary life by taking a picture with a baby tiger. But the only victims in this entire thing would be the animals themselves. So this is the turnout of this particular story. So as it stands right now, Joe Exotic is still in jail at this point. He's possibly awaiting sentencing or of some kind. And this is the story about Joe Exotic, the Tiger King, his life, his ways, and let this be a lesson. Tigers don't make good pets. Anyway, y'all, I think I sucked at this review. But anyway, don't want to tell anyone. I hope I didn't tell too much of it. Just when you get a chance, just get Netflix and watch it. It's a really interesting documentary. The Tiger King. So Tiger King, this is the guy that Cardi B even wanted to free. She wanted to free him. She was believing in him and all. So that would have been interesting. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of this review. Get in the comments. I know I need to work on my storytelling skills. I think I'm better writing it more than actually telling it. Anyway, let me know what you think. Support the channel, share this video, hit the bell icon, be notified. What else do I usually say? Support the channel financially, paypal.me/RealAaronCollins, as well as patreon.com/RealAaronCollins. And remember this, guys, God loves you. I love you. Let's do life. And don't be owning big cats. If you want a cat, go to SPCA, rescue organizations, and get your little kitten. A little cat like that. Just a little bitty cat, though. Not a big one. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one.